Hi, ladies. As you might know, my name is Mrs. Roberts, and I'm the Social Studies Department Chair here at Holy Child. And I'm making this video here for you all so that I can share with you what courses the Social Studies Department is offering next year, so you can plan ahead and be prepared for your conversations with Mrs. Lowry and Mrs. Mayo over the next coming weeks. So first, I'm going to show you guys the course sequence of social studies courses in case you're unfamiliar with that. In the Social Studies Department, we only require you to take 3 classes as a graduation requirement. You need to take World Cultures, Western Civilization, and U.S. History. But we do offer some electives. So if you do want to go on and take a 4th year, or if you want to take 2 social studies classes in 1 year, there are some options available for you. As you can see in this course sequence, World Cultures is a class that maybe many of you have taken or are taking right now. In the 10th grade, you take Western Civilization, and next year we're actually going to be offering an honors Western Civilization option. So I will be talking to you guys about that here in a minute. In the 11th grade, you would be taking your U.S. History requirement, and we have 3 different options for a U.S. History requirement. We have regular U.S. History, AP US History, and then also American Studies, which you might have heard from the English department is a double block that fulfills both the US History requirement and the English 11 requirement. And then also on this sequence, you can see here our electives in government and law and psychology that I'll talk about in a few minutes also. So if you are interested in our honors and AP classes, whether it's honors Western Civ or AP Psychology, we have the same requirements for all of our honors and AP classes. So first, you just have to show us your interest. And at the end of this presentation, I'll tell you the ways in which you can do that. As a department, we're also going to take a look at your social studies course grade so that we know kind of how you've been doing in your classes in social studies so far. We're also going to be just observing you and kind of taking into account our observations. We get to see you every day and interact with you. We know how you participate in class, how you engage with the materials. We know your eagerness and curiosity, and so we'll be taking that into consideration when we make course recommendations. And then the 4th thing that we'll look at is the midterm benchmark assessment you guys did back in December. While it's going to be your sample work for it, it's also nice to see how you think on the spot and analyze a new source that you haven't seen yet. So those are the 4 requirements that we'll be looking at to make our recommendations for honors and AP classes. So first up, when all of you rising 10th graders will be taking Western Civilization. And in the past, you would have just signed up Western Civilization, no problem. And you can still do that. But if you are interested in for a little bit more of a challenge and a little bit more rigorous of a class, we're going to encourage you to sign up and take interest in honors Western Civilization. It's going to be the same class in that it covers the same European history. It's just going to go in a little bit greater depth and detail. It's also going to have a heavier focus on some of those historical thinking skills you've started to develop, such as analyzing sources, creating arguments and thesis statements, and then defending and supporting those arguments. If you are interested in later social studies, AP, and honors classes, these are going to be really great skills to begin practicing in honors Western Civilization. It's certainly not a requirement that you take honors Western Civ to then be in AP US History or AP Psychology, but it will be helpful if you go on to take those classes. And then another component of honors Western Civilization will be some bigger research projects to kind of continue developing those research skills. So if you're interested in taking honors Western Civ, if you like European history, if you want more of a challenge or you want to further develop your reading and writing and thinking skills, honors Western Civ would be a great fit for you. Next, for our rising 11th graders, we have 3 different options. You can take regular U.S. history, which studies U.S. history chronologically. You could take American Studies, which you've heard a little bit about in the English presentations, but it will be a double block, fulfills the English 11 requirement. And the big difference is that it's taught thematically, not chronologically, because this allows for us to better combine the literature you're going to be reading with the history you'll also be studying. So you might study the theme of immigration or the theme of leadership or the theme of war, instead of starting at the beginning of the foundation of the United States and going all the way through modern times. You're going to be taking it by theme. And then the 3rd option for the U.S. history requirement would be advanced placement U.S. history. The requirement of the AP classes is that you take the AP exam in May of 2020. And similarly to the honors Western Civilization, AP US History is going to cover US history in more depth and more detail. It's going to have a heavier focus on historical thinking skills like comparing and contrasting, cause and effect, continuity and change. Not only are those good historical thinking skills to develop and practice, but the College Board will also be expecting you to demonstrate those on the exam. Along with that, there's going to be continuing a focus of analysis and argumentation, especially in writing, because there are 2 essay requirements of the College Board exam that you'll be practicing for, but also to help develop your writing and communication skills that way. So US History is the last required class. So once you've taken regular US History, American Studies, or AP US History, you've fulfilled your 3 requirements for graduation at Holy Child for social studies, but we would really, really encourage you to take some of our electives. So we have an elective that's regular government and law that anybody can take. We have an honors government and law that you would have to demonstrate interest into taking, as well as AP psychology. Our rule with these 3 classes is that you have to wait until you've fulfilled your graduation requirements in social studies before you can take them, meaning that usually students don't take them until they're a senior, because that means they've taken world cultures and Western Civ and US history. Now, we do have some students every year that take US history in conjunction with one of these classes. So we have students this year that are taking US history and psychology or US history and government, which you can do. But you have to be taking US history or have taken US history in order to take one of these 3 classes. So government and law, regular government law, anybody can take. It's just going to be the study of US civics and politics, a lot of current event discussions. There's always something happening in the US political landscape. It's a great class, so we encourage everybody to consider signing up for that and including that in their schedules. If you're looking for that class, but with a little bit more challenge and rigor, I would encourage you to take honors government and law. It's going to be studying these same topics, but in a little bit more depth and detail with a more critical and analytical eye. And it'll move a little bit faster through the coursework and go a little bit more deeply. And then finally, if you're looking for something really different that's a little bit more of the science side of social sciences, you should consider taking AP psychology. Similarly to AP US history, you must take the AP exam in May of 2020. That's a Holy Child rule. But what's really interesting about this class is that you will be studying the behavior and mental processes of humans, how we think and how we act and why. Because of this, you would need a stronger background in biology or science. That's helpful considering a big chunk of the course in the AP psychology exam is the human brain. But if you're interested in how we think and act and learn and behave, AP psychology would be a great class for you to take. So that is the sequence of AP and honors and the classes coming up next year that the Social Studies Department is offering. There's plenty of options. So if you are interested in any of our honors or AP classes, please let us know. So the way you let us know is, 1, you can complete an interest survey that your teachers are going to be sharing with you. You can find this survey also at tinyurl.com/HC Social Studies Interest Survey. But again, your teachers will be sharing it with you on OneNote or Veracross. Or you can always email me or stop by to see me. Again, my name is Mrs. Roberts, and my email is kroberts@holychild.org, and I'm in room 3 right by Miss K's desk. So please talk to us and let us know if you're interested. Stop by if you need any more information, and we look forward to seeing you in our classes next year.